Everton, all to go wide because they back themselves then to deal with the ball when it comes across. But Godfrey does well there to put him off. But this one is when you look at Harry Kane, and again, how narrow that is. Now, it makes it really difficult to go through the centre of Everton, but you look at the space out wide there for Perisic, and as I said, Sean Dyche will back his central defenders to deal with this, but this comes in, and this is a good chance for Harry Kane. I think he's got 9 headed goals already this season in the Premier League, so if they allow that ball to keep coming in, it lands on his head, there is a great chance that they will find themselves 1-0 down.
Particularly good start for Spurs. Would they feel they should be in front?
I think so. I mean, they've obviously had the sort of better chances. This is one where you just think Harry Kane all over, he's going to go. Michael Keane, we sometimes criticise defenders for going back on the line and why they're there, because sometimes they play strikers on, but he obviously chooses the right option there. Yeah, Spurs have done pretty well, and what's impressed me, I think, about Spurs is the way in which they dealt with Everton at the other end, under pressure from set pieces, Everton ringing the box, second balls, these types of things where Everton make it really difficult for you. That's not the best delivery in the world, but that's just typical Everton. They do set up really well. They keep the pressure on.
It looked like Spurs were up for the fight, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think they knew they had to be. That was one question I had before the game, was how would Spurs deal with this part of the game? And at this moment in time, I think they've sort of passed so far. They've done pretty well with it, and they're getting put under real pressure. You look at the bodies in the box there. There's 4 and 5 in there every time on set pieces.
Could take one goal. It has done so far in Everton's 3 victories at home under Sean Dyche. The crowd are playing their part as well. It's a hostile atmosphere, but so far so good for Spurs, and Everton haven't managed to find a breakthrough. Spurs have had their chances too. No goals yet.
Get the right result. Sky Sports coverage of the Premier League, sponsored by We Buy Any Car.
Mini Electric feels good. And now including a complimentary home charging wall box, it feels even better. Book a 24-hour test drive and feel it for yourself.
What's the point of rewards that aren't rewarding? Pick your own reward when you buy your car, home or van insurance at Confused.com.
Lotto's Easter extravaganza is £20 million, and it must be won this Saturday, or thousands of you will win a share of the jackpot. This Easter, it could be you. Play on app. Lotto from the National Lottery.
Hey, Doc, what can a Newman Fear Nothing blood test really test?
Kidney, liver, thyroid, heart, and more.
So it can know a man's body, but can it know his mind?
No.
Interesting, interesting. Order your Fear Nothing blood test at Newman.com.
Take control of your tan. Discover Dove's deeply moisturizing, fast-absorbing self-tan that lets you choose the level of your tan. Dove Gradual Self-Tan Collection.
Nothing beats a proper British Easter lunch with all the trimmings. A tender British leg of lamb, tons of British veg. Ooh, who doesn't love crisp roasties? And even a cheesecake.
Where's the mint sauce? I'm not eating unless there's mint sauce.
Oh, and the mint sauce, of course. At Morrison's, you get all that to feed 6 for under £4 a head. A very British Easter with Morrison's.
Sometimes running a business can feel like running a marathon in a desert, through quicksand. But Xero accounting software can help keep your business finances running smoothly. Soon that marathon will feel more like a fun rush with a jetpack. Search Xero with an X, because healthy business is beautiful business.
Fees. The F word in travel. With an HSBC Global Money account, you can drop fees from Acapulco to Zurich.
That means no fees here. No fees here, and no fees here. no fee. This is your phone. You don't work here. Nice to meet you.
Pay no HSBC fees overseas with a global money account.
Gillette Labs. New Neon Night Edition. A razor unlike any other. With a unique exfoliating bar that clears the skin before the blades. For an efficient cutting action and exceptional comfort. Enjoy effortless shaving and exfoliation in one stroke. Put your best face forward. With new Gillette Labs Neon Night Edition. The ultimate shave or your money back.
In other news, traffic chaos continues across the city. You know what? What about the happy moments we don't get to see? Who said you have to book to get the best table? And who needs a 5-star hotel when you have 1 million? So just take a moment and find your yellowtail.
This April on Sky Sports, it's beginning to heat up.
Strap yourselves in and welcome along to the ride. If you had any doubt about what it means, look at these pictures. Fired by extreme pattern and a whole lot more.
This is going to get better and better and better.
I thought I'd seen it all, and now I've seen more.
Look at these two.
This is absolutely epic.
This is living up to expectations.
Outstanding. With style, the major champion.
Watch all the sports you love this April on Sky Sports.
Get the right result. Sky Sports coverage of the Premier League, sponsored by We Buy Any Car.
We have got midweek Premier League action for you this week with Bruno Salter in charge of Chelsea as they face Liverpool. That's live from 7 o'clock tomorrow, and on Wednesday night, West Ham United take on Champions League chasing Newcastle United. That's from 7:30. Both those sides will have an eye on this game. And both those games are part of Super 6 as well. And you can get involved. All you have to do is predict 6 correct scores for a chance to win £250,000. You can play for free by downloading the app. As we await our first goal of the evening at Goodison Park. Second half on the way.
At William Hill, we get the value of football, the value of the players, the value of the win.
That's nothing can happen. You need more goals.
The value of your bet. This season, we're giving you our best value ever with William Hill's Epic Value. So, whether it's Acca Freedom, 3 or 4, or Epic Odds, we've got you covered. Real value, week in, week out.
It's epic!
It's who you play with. William Hill.
It is one of the sporting events of the year. The Masters is on the way for you, starting on Thursday, 2 o'clock on Sky Sports Golf. Well, the last time we watched Everton was at Stamford Bridge when that man, Ellis Sims, came off the bench to rescue what was a precious point. Could he have a role to play tonight, do you think, Jamie?
I think that will be his role. You know, Everton attacking the Gladys Street end as the game goes on. I mean, they'll want to put more pressure on. They want to stay in the game for as long as possible. But, as I said, that man's got huge confidence from what happened at Stamford Bridge. So I'm sure he'll want to get on that pitch at home and show the supporters what he's about.
The one thing that Sean Dyche, you know he'd want a striker that he can hit more regularly than he has at this moment in time. It's not ideal for him, so I think we definitely will see him at some point. I expect quite early in the second half.
Do you think Everton will be quite happy with the way it's gone so far?
Yeah, I think they will be. I mean, ultimately, they're playing against fantastic players. You think of Son, Kulusevski and Kane up front, you're going to be thinking that those at some point are going to get chances and score goals. A clean sheet's critical to Everton. But would you take a point? I don't think Sean Dyche will be thinking point at this moment in time. I think he'll be thinking he wants to win this game. He's got some really, really difficult fixtures coming up.
Yeah, I think he'll be really pleased. I mean, this is how Sean Dyche and Everton have played since he's come in at home. 3-1-0 wins. They stay in the game for as long as possible, and hopefully that ball will drop for them or something will bounce for them in the box, and they can win another game 1-0. I think it's inevitable. They'll either, games under this manager between now and the end of the season will be finished. They'll either win 1-0, lose 1-0, draw 0-0, but they'll always be in games.
Not sure Bobby Ewing will remember that first half.
You're still in the shower?
There's Don Goodman and Bill Leslie with hopefully a memorable second half.
Yeah, thanks, David. Well, it's an interesting point, actually, not about the shower, but about the
Everton template for success. Of those 3 1-0 wins, obviously the exception being Dwight McNeil's first-minute goal here against Brentford in their last home win. But Seamus Coleman scored just after the hour, 64 minutes when he got the winner against Leeds. 60 minutes Tarkowski here against Arsenal. Crucial quarter of an hour or so coming up here in the shape of this match, you feel. No half-time changes. Decore's got himself into the box here, hoping for the Godfrey delivery, which was cut out at source.
Yeah, good spot. That's what didn't happen in the first half, wasn't it? A few more bodies getting into that penalty area from open play. We all know Tottenham Hotspurs usually do most of their damage in the second half of games, don't they? He'll be well aware of that. As you can see there. Just be hoping for another big moment, as will he.
Pressure on Dyer. Here's Longley. Perisic. Dyer. Oh, and now gets the touch. Idrissa Gueye. Well, he had Doucouré screaming for it one side. He had Gray screaming for it the other. And he took it on himself.
Well, again, it's okay taking it on himself because this epitomises the game. Without the ball, absolutely brilliant. With the ball, just that end product. If he takes it on himself, he has to at least hit the target. Brilliant from Onana. He has got Doucouré outside him. What a chance. Biggest of the game.
Almost ready for the first goal of his second coming, but it wasn't to be. April 18, incidentally, the last time he scored for Everton, that was against Huddersfield.
Just went for all-out power, didn't he?
It's like he was surprised to find himself in that position. It was raucous, Goodison Park, at the start of the first half. There's a bit of nervous tension in the air. As the second half unfolds. And the stakes are high. The point by no means a disaster for either. It'll get them back to where they want to be in Everton's case, taking them outside the bottom 3 where they started this evening, and Spurs back into the top 4, but it will be ground lost, and they will have played at least 2 games more than their significant rivals for 4th. And I think we have to include Brighton in that conversation, don't we? 3 more games they'll have played than them.
100%, and that, of course, is Spurs' next game. They are at home to Brighton. I mean, if they lose here and they lost that one, all of a sudden Brighton would be level with them with a couple of games in hand if they can beat Bournemouth tomorrow. Huge game for both of these.
And we know how important the home form is for Everton. It kept them up last season. It needs to do the same this. You look at the 4 games they have left here after this: Fulham, Newcastle, Manchester City, and the final game here against Bournemouth. Can't stay as congested with the bottom 7-8 teams as it is at the moment. I wouldn't bet against it going into the final day. It'll be quite something. Here's Kane for Tottenham. No chance taken by McNeil. Spurs corner.
And again, we flagged up earlier in the game just how good Spurs have been from corners.
The Premier League headmasters, they have 14 goals from headers in the Premier League so far. The lion's share of those from the man wearing number 10, who, if he does get a header, will have his 10th of the season by that means, but it's Godfrey who got to it first. Porro, the scorer at Southampton, but not that time at Goodison.
I really, honestly do not know what he's thinking shooting from there. He's got a player outside him who could cross the ball. He could easily cross the ball. So many of his teammates had stayed forward. I mean, that bit's good, but they're not going to score from there.
Advantage play. Here's Iwobi. Onana. McNeil. Iwobi joining Doucouré in the central area. Now it comes in. Here is Doucouré. Gray. Godfrey. Keane finds Coleman. Out by Dyer. Coleman able to retrieve for Everton. Now Iwobi. Gray back to Onana. Precision, but not sufficient power.
Yeah, good little spell. Everton, good ball in from Iwobi. That's better from Murray. Gray holds the ball up well. It's a tame effort from Onana, but they work the space well.
Romero, who has gifted that to Idrissa Gana Gueye. Iwobi. Turned himself in knots. Here's Son. Kulusevski. Longley. Perisic. Strong-armed out of the way by Iwobi. Sean Dyche will enjoy that. Onana bemoaning his lack of options.
Yeah, there was a serious lack of options. As I say, without the ball, out of possession, outstanding Everton. Winning the ball back so often.
And as you speak, they do it again.
Yeah.
Having won it, can they use it? Can they use it effectively? An impressive sight in full stride. Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Well, he's certainly started this second half a little bit more advanced, hasn't he, than he was in the first half. So the intent is clear.
You wouldn't say that the handbrake has been released by Sean Dyche, maybe lightly feathered.
Playing almost like a second striker, isn't he, Doucouré, at times in this second half.
Again, one back by Everton. And not kept for long. Godfrey. Coleman. Coleman. There's a reluctance to fire it in due to the lack of height in the middle, perhaps. Onana. Gray. McNeil. Comfortably away by Longley.
Keep flagging it up, but one player in the box trying to get on the end of that Dwight McNeil cross. Law of averages tells you highly Awfully unlikely to score.
Romero. And from yet more celebrations with Argentina in the international window. That's something, that reception they got ahead of the game against Panama. Onana, come on too long. Porro got in, the flailing arm has caught the Spaniard. David Coote giving the free kick Spurs' way.
Talk about overreaction from Pedro Porro. Yes, he does catch him right in front of the referee. Referee deems it not worthy of a yellow card. I agree. It's just overreaction.
Perisic. Guy rose above Doucouré. Skip back to help out, but he loses out. Doucouré. That's about the best he could have hoped for.
He's done brilliant. Listen to the fans. Look at the fans. That's the reaction.
Gladys Street end comes to life. You said it's usually about the 60-minute mark that the 1-0 wins are carved out. We're in that sort of territory. And Tarkowski's in that sort of territory at the far post. Up towards him. Dyer's header. Kulusevski not enough on it. But Tottenham we're going to carve out a counter-attack. Kane finding Kulusevski. Højbjerg's well forward, but Coleman brilliantly back. Harry Kane. Trezeguet takes it back. This is now Damari Gray. Fouled by Kane. Little bit of afters. Oh, Doucouré slashed out there.
No. Trouble for Abdoulaye Doucouré. Big trouble.
Well, he's raised his hand. No matter how strong the contact was, it was a blow to the face of Harry Kane by Abdoulaye Doucouré. A loss of composure and the loss of a man.
I mean, the shame of it is he's been so good in this second half. Looked like he could be a key player in the outcome of this game, and just rush of blood to the head. He's cost his team big style here. Can't raise your hand like that, and he knows that.
Well, it's costly for the remaining half an hour or so we have to play here. It's violent conduct, it's costly for 3 games, maybe more, depending on the nature of his departure. He had plenty to say. Huge moment in this match and in Everton's season, you feel.
Coming together there, and it's just a crazy reaction, and so unnecessary. I understand he's keen. Well, he didn't like that, and that's fine. He's keen to get on with it, but don't get involved. You cannot afford, when you're in a relegation battle, to leave your teammates down to 10 men like that. He's had a shocker, I'm afraid. Can't defend him.
Everton's first red card of the season. And still, there are ripples from the coming together between Doucouré and Kane. Well, you know what Sean Dyche is saying. He feels Harry Kane milked it and made the most of it. But it wasn't Harry Kane that forced the hand of Doucouré into his own face. Well, Harry Kane has got a yellow card for his part in the initial altercation.
Trying to defend himself, Harry Kane doesn't have to defend himself. He was pushed in the face, and okay, he went down theatrically, and you would. But whether he went down or not, the referee would have been obliged to send Abdoulaye Doucouré from the field of play anyway.
No matter of the force of it, striking an opponent in the face is a red card offence.
Absolutely.
Well, that changes everything. Ian Wone and Sean Dyche in conversation as to what change they need to make.
Well, this team will fight and they'll scrap, and they're going to have to. But every decision that David Coote now makes is going to be greeted with, well, this kind of a reaction. It's not the referee's fault, let's be clear about that.
Well, Everton fans, of course, will feel a sense of injustice. Can it be used to galvanise? Højbjerg. On by Skip to Kulusevski. Everton fans will think back to some of the big wins they got under Frank Lampard towards the end of last season. There was one against Newcastle with 10 men, wasn't there? Against the odds.
Yeah, I mean, look, it can be very, very difficult playing against 10 men because they can make it very difficult. Lots of drills that you do when you overload attack v defence, and it's incredible how hard it can be to breach if the team that are down in numbers keep their discipline.
Højbjerg with a bit of space for Romero here. Two outside him. Kulusevski. Thread it through. This may just be the first illustration of exactly what you were talking about. Everton sitting in. The Spurs pro through Porro. Perisic. The well-manned defence was certainly stretched there. An unexpected ball from Perro, but very nearly a very effective one. Iwobi leaving Longley in a heap. Decided he had to take it on himself.
Yeah, I think he had one pass, and that was to Onana, who was square of him, didn't spot it. I think Longley gets a booking because as Alex Iwobi gets the better of him, he tries to make a grab for him, rugby style, and bring him down. Look, he tries to pull him down, he's got his shirt, stays on his feet, Iwobi. It's just that end bit again.
And the man on the ball goes into the book. Romero. Well, as much as you train playing with 10 men, so you train playing against them. And Romero stepping up much more than he did previously. Porro against McNeil.
Game now, and contrary to what they were doing when they had 11 men on the pitch, Everton will not go and press and harry and chase in the middle area.
It's Højbjerg. Keane read his intention. There's no outball at all for Everton. It's just a question of how quickly it'll come back at them.
You can see there, they're not going to have the ball at all.
Skip. Longley. Son. Højbjerg, Perisic is there. Oh, Keane had a little stab at that and got too much of the man, Romero. It's a penalty.
Well, it's one of those, he didn't know he was there. Michael Keane goes to prod the ball away, but Romero simply too quick. It's a horrible one for a defender, but there can be no complaints. He clearly catches him. Perisic does super well at the far post to knock that back down into an area, and Romero does well to nip there ahead of Michael Keane.
Well, in the corresponding meeting in North London back in October, it was a penalty that Harry Kane dispatched against his England colleague Jordan Pickford that set Spurs on the way to victory. We're going to have a repeat here in front of the park end lane of the ground at Goodison Park. They celebrated together in Naples last week as Harry Kane became England's record breaker, now cast in opposite camps.
It's amazing now, isn't it, how everybody congests around the penalty spot. Attacking team trying to protect it from the defending team that maybe want to scuff it a bit, but mind games here. He would have taken so many penalties against Jordan Pickford.
Well, we know he's missed some for club and for country this season. It's Kane against Pickford. Sends his England colleague the wrong way and fires Tottenham into the lead at Goodison.
Well, it's a tough one to take, isn't it, if you're Sean Dyche and you're Everton, but it all goes back to the red card, really. That's why they've been under siege. That's why they can't get out. That's why it keeps coming back. And ultimately, that's why Michael Keane has ended up making a mistake. Spurs don't care. Harry Kane, very, very good penalty. As I said, must have taken hundreds of penalties against Jordan Pickford, but doesn't matter. Even had he gone the right way,
He'd taken a few against Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, yeah, as well. No goalie in the world saving that.
Premier League goal number 22 of the season for Harry Kane, and this astonishing record he has against Everton is just continually extraordinary, really. 17 appearances, 16 goals now, 16 Premier League games, 15 Premier League goals against them. It's Premier League goal number 205, but in terms of goal involvements, he joins a very exclusive club, 250 plus goal involvements in Premier League history.
He's been outstanding, hasn't he? The irony is, you know, whether, as far as the red card is concerned, the only reason he found himself in that area was because he had given the ball away and he went chasing back to try and get it back.
Premier League goals they've scored here all season, Everton. And with 10 men, they need to find another. And their unbeaten run is coming to a shuddering halt. 3 games unbeaten coming into this, their best run since they had that run of 6 under Frank Lampard back in the autumn. On a Drissagay by Oliver Skip.
Well, when you're down to 10 men and you get set pieces, they're your best avenue, aren't they, really, to scoring a goal. All about the delivery.
Michael Keane, who gave away the penalty, coming forward. Damari Gray to take. Romero up. To Godfrey. It's gone very flat inside Goodison Park. You can probably hear that.
Yeah, and you can understand it as well. One of the other things that's happened is Spurs have almost withdrawn and they're now allowing Everton to have the ball. Initially, from the time that Doucouré got sent off, Spurs had all of the ball in the Everton half, but since the goal, they've had none of the ball. I'm not sure how wise that is.
We're about to find out. Romero. Romero nearly caught in possession. Tarkowski. Did really well to find Damari Gray. Fired straight at Hugo Lloris.
Well, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is having a right pop at Romero. I mean, the goalkeeper puts him in a difficult situation. There's no urgency, really, from the central defender just to clear the ball away. Ends up with a shot easily gathered, but as I said, a dangerous game here, Tottenham Hotspurs. Look at that, last 5 minutes, that should never happen. Not when you've got an extra man.
It's not like they'll be coursing with confidence. You look at their away record, it's 5 without a win in all competitions. You know what happened at Southampton last time out. Sent to the side netting from Porro. Well, he's got to change something. Vitaly Mikolenko and Ellis Sims, the hero of the piece at Stamford Bridge just over a fortnight ago. They're the 2 who are going to come on here for Everton.
What they'll be able to do with Ellis Sims is at least go from back to front quickly. Physical presence, willing runner as well, but more traditional centre forward.
Long leg. Showing good desire in the last third, Everton. Get their reward with Damari Gray trying to manoeuvre some space. Drissagay forcing the save from Lloris.
They're causing their own problems here, Spurs. They really, really are. It's really poor from them, allowing a team with 10 men to dominate them and dictate them.
It almost feels like they're inviting them back into the match.
That's because they are. Remarkable mentality. Don't understand it.
Lack of confidence. Who knows? Either way, Everton will take it. Can they take advantage of it? towards Tarkowski. Keane. Is stricken. Take your time, says a teammate, and he might just do that.
Yeah. Well, I can't see any contact there at all. Bit of gamesmanship, methinks.
Well, Everton use this little break in play to make their 2 changes. Vitaly Mikalenko, he's on for Seamus Coleman. Damari Gray made his way off to make way for Ellis Sims. Tottenham deciding it's time for a change as well. Clement Longley having just been booked. They don't want to take a risk with him and go down to 10 as well, like their hosts. Gallic shrug as he comes off, and on comes the Colombian international, Davinson Sanchez.
The crowd didn't want the Everton players to give the ball back.
Momentum within a match, once you have it and lose it, it's very hard to get it back, and the 10 men of Everton have it, but there's a slip by Mikalenko. Son asking too much of Kane. And Keane is there first. McNeil. He felt he was fouled and was having his shirt pulled by Pedro Porro.
This is the moment that Tottenham Hotspurs recognise they need to control this game. Do that by controlling the ball.
Kulusevski. Hojbjerg. Perisic. Dyer. Romero. Romero. He's going to the book for that slightly over-eager lunge on Onana.
It's a stock standard one, isn't it? Romero.
No stranger to the referee's notebook, or to the early bath for that matter. Well, this is a match that seems to have turned on the early dismissal of Abdoulaye Doucouré. Just a few minutes after that, Harry Kane stepping up and taking the penalty after Romero was fouled. And just over 10 minutes plus added time for Everton's 10 to try to salvage something. Iwobi. Beautifully beyond Son. Sims. Iwobi. McNeil. Mikalenko. Appeals for handball. Perro's arms were by his side. Michael Oliver, the VAR, quick to complete his check of that one.
Yeah, he's trying to had his arms behind his back. To be fair.
Twice last time out at Stamford Bridge they came from behind, but they had the full complement of players there. And do it here at home with the crowd at their back. Tottenham's confidence feels like it's brittle. Tarkowski getting it back from Sims, or nearly.
Just inviting Everton on. I can't believe what I'm seeing, I've got to be honest with you. The team aspiring to get into the top four, have a man advantage, and they're doing nothing but offer Everton encouragement. Lack of ruthlessness.
This is a team that's been verbally slaughtered by their manager, their ex-manager 2 weeks ago, saying how they don't have the character to win matches and compete on the big stage. Maybe they're believing it a little bit. That's that handball shot, by the way, Dom.
Yeah, his hands behind his back, hit him on the elbow, but you're not going to get penalties for that, and rightly so.
Son getting a Goodison Park send-off as he's replaced by Lucas Moura. Trying to angle it in for Iwobi, who has ground to make up. Godfrey. Onana attacks it, but Lloris gets his gloves on it.
Yeah, just needed a bit better delivery. Always favoured the goalkeeper, high and hanging ball.
Two more Everton changes in the offing. Skipped. Chris again, just overstepping the line of the law.
Yeah, it's a risk. It may have been fouled, but what a risk they're taking.
And some midfield energy to be introduced by the look of things. James Garner on the left and Tom Davis on the right. Tom Davis, Everton's most used substitute, is brought into action again. A reminder of the midweek live action we have for you on Sky Sports. Chelsea against Liverpool tomorrow from 7. And Wednesday night, West Ham against Newcastle. Kane looking for Kulusevski. Pedro Porro now for Spurs. Kulusevski. Sanchez. Again, unnecessary pressure being invited on by a fairly fundamental Tottenham mistake.
He will be so delighted with his team. I mean, that's since the goal. They have dominated, really, which is unfathomable. If you're Tottenham Hotspurs, I'm going to be really curious to listen to Christian Stellini afterwards and his thoughts on what he's seen here, particularly since they've had the extra man.
McNeil. Mikolenko. Needed a better cross from the Ukrainian. Mikolenko wrestling with Porro. Frank stays down. Christian Stellini thought it was out. Iwobi. Garner fouled by Davinson Sanchez. Free kick. Just the sort of thing that Everton have been waiting for.
Close one. Garner. Did he just get there ahead of him? Yes, he did.
Having won it, Garner is going to take it. First time featuring since the World Cup. His first season here at Goodison Park has been really decimated by injury. What a chance here to make an impact. To look for the supporting cast in Keane or Tarkowski, or will he take on Hugo Lloris? Flipped in, clipped straight out.
Not the worst ball I've ever seen, to be honest. It's into that area between the back line and the goalkeeper, but maybe a fraction too much pace on it for his teammates.
Just going back to what you were speculating over the Stellini reaction to this, I think it's worth putting into context on. He said that Spurs aren't a club in crisis, but let's think what's happened to them over the last 2 weeks. Not just the whole Antonio Conte episode and the manner of his departure, but also the director of football who was leading the search for the next head coach, having to step down because of charges against him. You know, to say it's unsettling would be a massive understatement, and maybe it's having an effect on the way they're performing out there.
Yeah, I don't think it should as a player. I don't think it should. I think they should have been motivated by the stinging criticism left by Antonio Conte. They should have been motivated when Everton went down to 10 men. They should have been motivated when they took the lead, but since they took the lead, they've just sat back. I can't actually believe what I'm seeing, to be honest.
But with 2.5 of normal time to play, they still have the lead. And Everton still have it all to do. Keane. Caught by Moura. Nasty challenge, he's off! There was no need for that. He lunged in, caught plenty of Keane. And it's 10 against 10.
Well, it's a horrible tackle. It really is. He's really, and we say it often, don't we, not that kind of a player. But he's so late here. It's so dangerous, leading with his studs. His hand went up instantly, knew that he was in trouble. Oh dear. Can't have any complaints. It's just a horrible one. He knew it instantly.
Well, as you say, Don, he might not be that sort of a player, but it was that sort of a challenge. And what a finish we have in store here now. Pickford launches it. Davinson Sanchez under it. Godfrey. Davis. Needs to look for Sims, which is what he does. Sims had a keen stayed forward. Godfrey now. Got a little break. Finds Sims. Now Iwobi. Keane's waiting at the far post. Took it away from Mikalenko inadvertently. Keane. Keane! Oh! Talk about a blockbuster! Michael Keane with a stroke for the ages! On the stroke of 90 minutes. 1-1!
Well, it's not dissimilar to a strike that we saw a few years to go from one Vincent Kompany, is it? It's almost like the opposition is saying, you're a centre-half, go on then, hit it if you want. My goodness. What a strike this is. Simply sensational. Oh, Lloris doesn't even dive. It's a power. The dip, the swerve, the accuracy. It is a stunner. And you know what? Tottenham Hotspurs have got nobody but themselves to blame here. And how often do you see it? Player makes a mistake at one end, comes up with the goods at the other.
And comes up with the goods and then some. Well, Everton need to cut short their celebrations because Tottenham are looking to get back in front here. Perisic. He's looking for the corner.
Well, I'm so disappointed when he gave the penalty away, but what a strike. You do not strike a football any better than that.
It's not quite statue-worthy like the Kompany one, but it's not far off.
Not far off indeed. A remarkable strike. Listen to the noise. I'll tell you another thing, if they survive by 1 point as well, they might build a statue of him.
Kulusevski. And still plenty of time for yet another twist in the tail.
Well, Christian Stellini's post-match interview is going to be even more interesting now, isn't it? Unless...
10 points they've already dropped from winning positions this season, including the 2 at Southampton last time out. Looks like they're dropping a couple more here. Garner breaks it up.
All of a sudden there's an urgency about Spurs, isn't there? Perisic has just had a shot, they're prompting, they're probing. Where was this? It's a reaction to conceding an equaliser. As I said, I can't get my head around it, I don't get it.
It was that 10 minutes of game management when they had the lead, they had the one-man advantage. They gave Everton hope where they didn't need to. It's cost them one, maybe another. Tarkowski. Tarkowski! Oh, it came off Dyer. That was heading very, very close.
Well, it was. Heck of a strike. Spurs are very happy. Eric Dyer was there.
Romero. Here comes Mikalenko. He's alone for now. Was he fouled by Porro? Not sure he was.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, the clearance from Lloris, charged down by Davis. Could have gone anywhere, but it's gone behind. The sanctuary of a goal kick.
Well, do you know what? I was thinking about how proud Sean Dyche was going to be, whilst I was thinking that Everton were going to lose this game 1-0. Even more proud. And when I said proud, I was thinking of the energy and the work ethic and the desire that they showed when they went down and they were playing against a team with an extra man.
Well, I hope you were giving a little bit of thought to your player of the match as well, Don. I'll ask you for that in a moment. Here's Garner. McNeil. Chance for Dyer to get it away. Tarkowski pursued by Romero. And fouled by Romero.
Well, listen, the crowd want Jordan Pickford to get this forward into an area. They actually believe they can win this now. And why not?
Well, after that strike by Michael Keane, they may well believe that anything's possible. Bosky. No one reacting to his header. Had the closest player to it was his fellow centre-half, Michael Keane. Tumbling over each other down below, Perisic and Davis. Dyer. The Spurs can find something here. There won't be time to respond. It's Kulusevski. Bubbles wide. Maybe time to take the corner. And as they say, it all comes down to this. Yeah, literally. 1 goal each, 10 men apiece. Final action of an absorbing evening at Goodison Park. Perisic to take, Sims to meet it. And David Coote to bring it to an end. Well, it's a point apiece between Spurs' interim head coach and Everton's firefighter, Sean Dyche. It's Everton who went down to 10 first. It's Everton who went behind. But it's Everton who showed the character that means they stretch their unbeaten run to 4 games now to come back and wrestle a point. Could easily have been more. Harry Kane, the centre of things for much of the match in terms of the red card for Doucouré, heavily involved in that when he was struck by the Everton midfielder. And when the penalty was given away for the foul on Romero, he stepped up and beat his England colleague. Spurs looked to have it in the bag then, but Everton had other ideas, and goodness me, did they come back. Michael Keane with his first goal of the season, and what a stunner it was. As Don said, echoes of Vincent Kompany. It raised the roof, and it certainly, Don, put the crown on a fabulous night's entertainment here.
Well, and you have to say, nothing more than Everton deserve. And if they show that fighting spirit and that character and just add a little bit of quality in the final third, you know what, they've every chance that they'll be okay. But it's the 3 points that got away from Tottenham Hotspurs, or the 2 points. I think they were masters of their own downfall.
Especially when Lucas Moura was sent off for a nasty challenge on Keane. Well, quite the night at Goodison Park. Keane milks the applause. Final score, Everton 1, Tottenham 1.
Grandstand finish. We didn't want the game to end, in truth, did we, Jamie?
No, it felt like there could be a winner, and it looked like it was going to be Everton, to be honest. Putting pressure on towards the end. We've seen Sean Dyche, urging his players forward from a set piece late on. But I said before the game, I mean, Goodison Park, under the lights, this time of the season, we saw it last season. It's a difficult place to go and win. It really is. And the crowd are right up for it. The players are the same. You see them there.
Do you think the red card actually dialed the atmosphere up?
Oh, yeah. Everton against the world. I mean, not just Everton. We've all been in those situations as clubs where you feel you're a bit, not unjust, it was a red card, but we'll get into, whether Harry Kane was right to go down or not, or we'll get into that. But every time Harry Kane got the ball after that, he was booed. So you can, the reaction of the Everton supporters feel like they're hard done by, and everyone bought into that. And that's been exactly like that since Sean Dyche came in.
Mick Lyons would have enjoyed that one as well. Michael Keane's first ever Premier League goal from outside the box. He's not going to forget that, is he?
No, absolutely brilliant moment for him. Look, I mean, what Sean Dyche has done since he's come in, he's made this team resilient. They fight to the end, and that's all those Everton fans. They're celebrating like they've won the game, but the reality of it is that there's a spirit there. They fight for their manager, they fight for the fans, and those fans are responding to it. Look, it's an important point for Everton that Spurs couldn't see the game out, but I have to say Everton responded really well to losing a man.
Yeah, it was a dramatic second half. Both teams down to 10 and a goal apiece, which means it finished 1 apiece at Goodison Park to round off a dramatic return to Premier League action after the final international break of the season. A weekend which started with Manchester City laying down a statement of their own with a 4-1 victory over Liverpool. Arsenal's response was to beat Leeds by 4-1. Big result for Bournemouth in their battle to stay up. 2-1 winners over Fulham. A 6-goal thriller between Brighton and Brentford. Two sides who are chasing Europe. Roy Hodgson returned to Crystal Palace with a late victory over Leicester City. A bad-tempered affair at the City ground finished 1 apiece between two sides who were fighting to stay in the division. Chelsea going down 2-0 at home to Aston Villa on Saturday. That was the end for Graham Potter. Of course, it was the end for Brendan Rodgers as well, with that defeat for Leicester City. And then on Super Sunday, another big game at the bottom, edged by West Ham 1-0 and Newcastle beating Manchester United 2-0 in that fight for a top 4 finish. Everton 1, Spurs 1 to round things off. You can scan that QR code. It will take you straight to the Sky Sports app where you can catch up on all the highlights from the weekend. And, of course, you can see it all as well on the Sky Sports Premier League YouTube channel. And it means we are left like this. Spurs were edging into 3rd place for the first time since November before that late equaliser, but they are back into the top 4 as Manchester United drop down to 5th. Both they and Newcastle have 2 games in hand on Spurs. And at the bottom, 1 point, but a big move from Everton, from the bottom 3 all the way up to 15th, but it is still so tight. Just 5 points from Southampton all the way up to Wolves in 13th place. It's Leeds who slip back into the bottom 3 with Leicester City and Southampton. What a raucous night at Goodison. And we've got a couple more for you, guaranteed this week, live from the Premier League at Stamford Bridge tomorrow night, where Chelsea start life without Graham Potter against Liverpool. Coverage starts from 7, and another big game at the London Stadium where West Ham United are unbeaten in 5. That will be put to the test by Alexander Isak in form, and Newcastle United from 7:30 on Wednesday. The 4th and final series of Succession continues on Sky Atlantic. The 2nd episode of the series is available right now. Going to hear lots more from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher before we leave you at 11 o'clock tonight. More analysis from the weekend to come, and of course, from the key talking points from tonight's game at Goodison Park, where it finished 1 apiece and 10 men apiece.
Sky Sports coverage of the Premier League brought to you by EA Sports FIFA 23.
The season's first major approaches. It's time to step up.
What a shot. What a shot. Oh, would you believe that? Rory McIlroy, what a round of golf.
And show the strength to overcome any obstacle to get it done.
Oh, wow.
Scotty Scheffler, what did you just do? Augusta demands. The drama awaits. The Masters, all 4 days, exclusively live on Sky Sports Golf.
Every movie from the amazing world of Spider-Man, all in one place.
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Sky Cinema Spider-Man, available now.
Internet's playing up again. What a nightmare.
Dad, it won't stop spinning.
It's been loading forever.
Save yourself from broadband nightmares with BT Full Fibre. Get ultra-fast speeds, even at peak times, on the UK's most reliable broadband technology. Search BT Full Fibre.
Yeah. Go on, lads.
When you bet fair on Bet Builders this football season, get a £5 free bet when you place a £5 Bet Builder on Chelsea versus Liverpool. Betfair.
Come on! They're not even going to make it home for the post-match analysis at this rate. And that's why KFC Delivery is Sky Sports' official delivery partner.
What a thrill to feel alive, excitement's in the air. Seems like there's a rainbow smiling.
Whatever the day throws at you, our compact SUV is ready. Toyota Yaris Cross, self-charging hybrid.
This is Debbie's nightmare. Losing track of invoices has led to an unexpected visit from her suppliers. But this is merely a figment of her unwoken imagination. With Intuit QuickBooks, Debbie can see her finances in real time, so there's no surprises.
Obviously, with the prices going up, I'm constantly with the kids, you know, don't turn the lights on so much, and is that 25 pence worth of milk that you got still left in the bowl? Don't put that much milk in the cereal bowl, because obviously, you know, you're not going to use it all, you know. I mean, that's going a bit extreme, but you know what I mean? I'm just trying to make sure that we can keep things going.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. Book now with just a £60 deposit per person and spread the cost with flexible monthly payments. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Aptrinato protected.
Yo, hey, what's up? What's up? Everything, apparently. So we've got to get the bills down. What are we doing about it?
Well, I'm on my way to save the Wilsons £390 on their car insurance.
Good. Well, 4 marks for the savings, 4 out of 10 for the parking. The rest of you keep focused. Let's start saving people serious money.
Super save on car insurance with Money Supermarket.
Get set for spring at B&Q with 3 for 2 on interior paint, including 3 for 2 on all paint mixing. Choose from brands like Dulux, Valspar and Farrow & Ball, and breathe new life into your home for less. Shop in-store at DIY.com or on the B&Q app. That's spring nailed. You can do it.
Why must the everyday be so everyday? When you can squeeze the afternoon and add a dash of fabulous. Let's live magnificently. Tanqueray.
Sponsored by Bet365.
Hojbjerg, Perisic is there. Paul Keane had a little stab at that and got too much of the man Romero. It's a penalty. It's Kane against Pickford. Sends his England colleague the wrong way and fires Tottenham into the lead at Goodison. Keane. Keane! Oh! Talk about a blockbuster! Michael Keane with a stroke for the ages. On the stroke of 90 minutes. 1-1.
It was a sensational strike from Michael Keane and a stunning end to the game, which earned Everton a very precious point in their fight to stay up against Spurs tonight. And we're delighted to welcome Michael Keane now, who joins us live from Goodison, who had the final say in the contest. Michael, thank you so much for speaking to us. Can you describe your emotions right now?
I'm buzzing, to be honest. You won't believe me, but every now and again I do hit the ball like that in training, so to do it in a game is nice. I think my teammates have been expecting it for a while, so to see one come off is amazing. But honestly, after I gave the penalty away, I was just buzzing to make up for it. I think the team fought really well. Obviously, we were man down for probably the best part of half an hour, and it was tough, so yeah, buzzing.
Well, let's live that second half through your perspective. First, as you say, with the penalty that you conceded, what's going through your mind in that moment?
Well, I don't know. We're down to 10 men. Not that that's an excuse, but maybe you're a bit more on edge, wanting to get to things, a bit more desperate. I've cleared one in a similar fashion, just a couple of minutes before it, and I saw the ball got knocked down. Didn't see he was coming around my shoulder, and I knew straight away it was a penalty. But it was important not to let that define my game. I thought I carried on well after that, and obviously got us back into it.
And of course, before your goal, there was a challenge on you, which levelled it up to 10-10. Was that a sore one?
Yeah, it was sore. Yeah, I feel like it could have been a lot worse, but it's a bit sore now. Yeah, I think it's a definite red card. I've not seen Dukes' red card, but I think that one was definite. I don't think he could complain.
All right, well, we've got the monitor there with you as well, Michael, so we can actually show you your special moment in all its glory and talk us through it as someone, as you say, who's such a skilled operator in these positions.
All I remember was Ben getting the ball. Where is he? Here. And I saw the space opened up in the middle of the pitch. I thought, go on then, go on then. Go on then, it's opened right up, and yeah, just have a go. To be honest with you, I didn't feel it come off my foot. It was that sweet. But yeah, it was nice. I was in shock a bit afterwards. I couldn't believe it had happened. But nah, yeah. You see, I bring it onto my right foot, and I've got quite a lot of space, to be fair. And I saw the gap. Obviously, it's not easy and a bit of luck involved. But
does it just sit up nicely as well in the last moment?
I don't know. Ref's in the way. I don't know. Maybe it did. It dipped like it was a volley. I'm not sure, but. Yeah, it'll take me a long time to catch one sweeter than that.
Did you know as soon as you hit it, this was going in?
Yeah, I could see it, to be fair, and it was swerving away from Maurice, so I knew it had a chance. I've been close to a few in the past, and this one looked in all the way.
I mean, it's going in. I mean, last season, Michael, I'm not sure if you played in the game, but there was a similar sort of late goal at that end. Damari Gray scored against Arsenal, the winning goal. And we made a big deal about this man here. It's the same supporter. He went absolutely ballistic. He knows it's in. He knows it's in before it's gone in. So we're going to make him a star again. He's always in the same position, so a little shout out for him again. But, Michael, I just wanted to ask you about, you know, it's a vital goal for you. Getting to that stage of the season now, every point on the board is vital. You got a vital goal against Crystal Palace, I think, in probably one of the most famous games you've been involved in at Goodison Park. How important do you think this goal could be?
Yeah, I think it could be really. I think at this stage of the season, every point is massive. Every contribution could be huge come the end of the season. So, yeah, I mean, I hope it turns out to be really important. I think in general, we're disappointed not to win tonight. I think coming into the game, we wanted to win. We really believed we could win. With how the game panned out, obviously we're happy with the draw in the end, but I think we're heading in the right direction. That's 4 games unbeaten now, 6 points from the 4. Obviously, there's 3 draws in that, but I think it shows the mentality. We've come from behind in a few of them games, and maybe mentality that we didn't have in the past. So I think we're moving in the right direction, and if we keep on playing like that and applying ourselves like we have been doing the last few weeks, then few months, and then they'll give us the best chance possible.
Michael, just looking at your own situation, you've been out the team for a long time. Sean Dyche is coming in, who knows you really well. What is it about that connection with you and Sean Dyche? What are you asking of you that's maybe different than the previous manager?
Well, I just know straight away he believes in me. I knew as soon as he came in, I had a conversation with him, and I know he believes in my ability. I know I performed well for him before. I know his system really suits how I like to play. I know I can thrive in his system, so it was about me getting fit, and I always felt like I would get a chance. Obviously, I had to be patient. It was a tough 9 months for me not playing, but to get back in the team, I'm just really happy to be feeling part of it again and also contributing.
Michael, obviously we're delighted to have you on Monday Night Football, but when you're watching the results coming over the weekend and West Ham win, obviously Bournemouth get a fantastic victory against Fulham, and others around obviously win as well, Crystal Palace win. Does that put that little bit more pressure on you onto that training session on Sunday morning, then coming into the game today?
Yeah, I think I could stand there and say, no, it doesn't. You focus on yourself, but I think everybody does look at the results. Obviously, you can't let it affect you. You can't let it affect how you train, how you play. But everybody's looking at results, and yeah, if results don't go our way, so be it. We know what we've got in our changing room. We know how we work every day. We know the standards we set for ourselves, and like I say, if we apply them on the pitch like we do every day in training, it'll give us the best chance, and hopefully we'll be all right.
How much belief is there in the dressing room, finally, Michael, that you will be okay?
A lot. We see every day in training the quality we've got. Obviously, the manager we've got, the experience he has, especially in this position. I think it stands us in good stead. A lot of experienced players. Obviously, we're in a similar situation last year. Probably a bit more desperate last year at this point of the season. So we've been in it before. We know what to do. We know what it takes to get out of it. And yeah, I'm confident we will.
It was a brilliant intervention, Michael, which has earned you the Player of the Match award. And we have a very special guest standing by to present you the trophy.
Hi, thank you, Harry.
What do you say?
Thank you.
Well done, Michael. You're Player of the Match.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, mate. That one's for you.
Little Harry
Have a good day.
Garside there.
Yeah, enjoy it. Good lad, good lad.
Well done, Michael. Thanks very much for speaking to us.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Little Harry Garside, who was the special mascot for Everton tonight, delivering Michael Keane the player of the match. He earned it, didn't he, just for that strike?
He was involved in big moments in the match, and to be fair, we've been there where you give a goal away, and he mentioned that sort of, if you like, mistake recovery. It's one of the most important things for a defender. One of the toughest things to do when you're giving a goal away is to sort of clear that from your mind. I mean, I never went on to be fair, clear a mistake from my mind and actually go and score a goal. Others did it for me sometimes, and you were so grateful to them, but to do it yourself is absolutely brilliant for him.
Sounded like he was really confident that he was going to be the man.
Yeah, it did. I mean, he mentioned about being out for 9 months. He gave an interview before the game talking about, the differences with sort of Sean Dyche and Frank Lampard. He found it difficult. But yeah, I mean, the sun's striking. He's really trying to get the message across that he has got that in his locker, and he does it in training. I'm not quite sure I believe him, but listen, it's just one of those goals. If Everton stay up, that will be looked back on. It was a vital goal, and I mentioned before how important the one he got against Crystal Palace was, and he does have that ability. Him and Tarkowski have both got that trait for them in terms of getting goals. And I mentioned Tarkowski before the game. Again, in this game, he won everything in the air, set piece-wise. Everton just never got something from it. But when you actually think of the goals Everton have scored under Sean Dyche, they've got a problem scoring goals. We think of the Seamus Coleman one, out of nothing. That one tonight, I don't know. But sometimes you get goals like that or a bit of a luck like that when there's a great spirit around, and that's what they've got right now.
Let's get the manager's verdict. Sean Dyche is waiting to speak to us now. Congratulations on the point, Sean. I think you've found yourself a new centre forward, haven't you?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but he's been in fine form, to be fair, on the training pitch. And as I remarked on it, he's been training with clarity during the international break, and it doesn't surprise me he has some quality.
Why did you bring him back into the team?
Look, it's a tough call. Connor had done a great job and was having a decent season, but the margins are tight with who you pick and who you're not picking, and I just felt that it was right at the time. And it was a tough game, the first game away at Arsenal, but once I made that decision, I thought, well, you can't just judge him on that one. He needs another game, and I think he responded, and he's responded ever since.
There was a fantastic noise at the end of the game. The Everton fans really appreciated the effort that you and your team gave them tonight. Do you think that a point is a fair reflection? Are you actually disappointed that you didn't come away with more?
Well, look, the ebbs and flows of the game, you are in the end, because I thought the whole stadium thought we were going to get a winner. I certainly did, with the intent that the team provided. But I'm more pleased with the mentality. It's been growing here, and the way the team are working now, it's something that I'm really proud of and proud of the players, because we want to play, of course we do, but it starts with hard graft and the energy and the commitment to the cause and the challenge, and also the shape and the basic fundamentals have got to be delivered. And I think we're delivering that all the time. And then the growth in the mentality. I mean, 10-11, is tough enough, and then they score a penalty, and I thought we were terrific after that. Whatever happened then, I'm going, no, this is a group who are growing, this is a group who are improving, and then of course you score a great goal and you get a point and deserve that, at least I thought. And even 11-11, I thought there was a lot of good things about our performance. So it's another step in the right direction. It's only a point, but it's a meaningful point, the same as at Chelsea for different reasons. The mentality is getting stronger and stronger, and I think that holds us in good stead as we go forwards.
Sean, you're really experienced, obviously, at dealing with this situation, but obviously having you on Monday Night Football means that you see the results come through over the weekend. Obviously, Bournemouth winning, West Ham, Crystal Palace. Is there anything that you say to the players or have to do with the players differently just to make sure that it doesn't impact them in a negative way? Because obviously players watch the games, they see the results.
Not from my point of view. I mean, I've never bothered with all that. I never speak to the players about it. It's about us looking after ourselves. If someone does you a favour and results go, that can happen. But we intend on looking after ourselves. We're building something here, and that has to have a show for what you do and an outcome which you want, of course, which is points, wins. And we're building that, and we don't want to rely on others. Like I say, you'll always take a lucky one, or you take one that goes your way, a result that goes your way. You can't guarantee that. The thing we're trying to guarantee is performances. And you get them right over a longer period, then you get points and you win games, and we've been doing that. So it's more about that. That's my focus, and I want the players to remain focused on that.
Sean, I think that was your 5th game. You've had a Goodison Park in the league, got a great record at home. What's your feeling being new to Everton in terms of the atmosphere, the stadium, the supporters getting behind you? How have you found it?
It's been fantastic. Look, all I asked for when I got here, I said, I described it, I said, give us a chance to breathe, meaning I know there's a lot of noise around the club. Of course, I was aware of that and different reasons for that. But, the idea was just give us a chance, try and not let that emotion get involved on the pitch. And they've been absolutely terrific. We've been travelling away in numbers. And here, the energy they're giving the team is absolutely outstanding. And I can't thank them enough for that, because it means a lot to players. They've got to give something back. Of course, the players, of course they have. But they are doing. they're wearing the shirt with everything they can wear it with. They're wearing it with pride, and the fans are seeing that. You know, and I keep going on about, I think Alex gave a bit of sticks and I keep slapping at minimum requirement is maximum effort, but it is. You know, it's a start point. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but we're working to push the margins in our favour. And I'm really proud of the players for doing that in the time that I've been here so far, and the fans playing their part has been such a big thing for us.
Sean, the first red card of the game, are you more disappointed with Decore or Harry Kane?
Look, it's one of them. The whistle's gone. I don't think the challenge needs to be made, and I think Decore has to go in for it because he sees Kane lining it up. So he's got a challenge, but then you can't raise hands. You can't raise hands. We know that. You know, that's the way it goes. So I'm not disappointed in the final moment, but I just don't think the challenge had to be made. It started a moment that didn't need to occur, in my opinion.
Have you set a target, Sean, points-wise?
No, I always concentrate on the next one is the most important. I want the mentality to be like that. This will be parked quickly. We'll make sense of it. We'll show them some clips and some things that we think were relevant. But the next one's the most important one. You know, the league will tell you at the end of the season, that's the most important table. It always is.
It's Manchester United away next, of course. But psychologically, does it make a difference that you're not in the bottom three?
Well, yeah, again, I'm not obsessed with looking at the table. It's the one at the end of the season. I keep going on about it because I mean it. That's how the way I've always worked, you know. And I did as a player. You know, you can't, the last one doesn't guarantee the next one. All these sayings I use, but they're meaningful. They're things I've learned over my career. So I just want the mentality to be right to perform every time the whistle blows. And like I said, it's growing. There's still work to be done, but it's growing all the time here.
Well done. Another point in the right direction. Thanks so much for talking to us, Sean, as ever.
Thanks, lads. Cheers.
According to the Opta predictor, you might be slightly surprised to hear this, I don't know, that they're actually more likely to go down off the back of that 1 point. They were 42% pre-match to be relegated. That's now gone up to 43%.
Well, does the predictor know that they were down to 10 men? I mean, listen.
Is that because they've lost a home game and basically
they didn't lose?
A home game has gone.
No, what I mean is they've lost a home game.
Exactly.
The home game now has gone off their list.
The Opta thinks that Southampton are pretty much relegated, 85%. They think that Nottingham Forest are the next most likely at 55, and then Everton at 43.
Yeah, the fixtures that they've got left, though, I mean, we know that it's a tough run in Everton have got, and that'll where obviously that percentage obviously is high for Everton. But look, you'd be stupid at this moment in time to predict which three are going to go down. I think that before this weekend, we all probably said Southampton, we all probably thought Bournemouth, and that still may be the case. But the reality of it is at this moment in time, it's looking like Everton, Forest and Southampton, according to that, are favourites. But I can probably assure you that it won't be those three teams at the end of the season because it'll change every week.
Everton won't go down. Everton won't go down. There's no team, I think, at the bottom who are actually showing their fighting spirit. Now, you need more than that. You need goals. You look at the remaining fixtures, they are tough. But I can assure you now, when you're playing against Everton, every team there's thinking this is going to be a tough game. And that's what I've said on this show for the last 10 years.
It's a worry not having a centre forward, though.
No, but what I'm saying is, Everton have always got to be a physical, powerful team who get at set pieces. And every time someone plays against Everton, they say, oh, do you want to play in that? That's going to be a tough game.
What do they need? 3 wins?
But look,
maybe 4?
I think Sean Dyche is doing everything he possibly can. But I think you look at that squad, I think his top goal scorer has got 4 goals.
Amari Gray.
That will be a real problem. Honestly, that it could be something that these players could do brilliantly, the manager could do brilliantly, but because of that lack of centre forward, it still could be a real issue for them and land them in trouble. I agree with you. I don't think they'll go down, but because of that, it's an issue.
But you're spot on. Of course, everyone can see that. But the point is, Sean Dyche knows that better than anyone. And what he's done is made Everton very, very difficult to play against, very difficult to beat. And all Everton's games are going to be a 1-0 win, a 1-0 defeat, or a 1-1. There's not going to be too many goals. I know they've drawn a couple of games 2-2, but Everton are going to be in games till the very end. I just feel like that was the same at Chelsea. They played Tottenham, they've had Arsenal at home. Manchester United away from home is going to be tough, of course it is. But Manchester City going there, that will not be easy.
Jamie is pretty clear there. Everton are not going down. Are you as confident?
My concern is that lack of goals. I think it's a real problem, and I think Sean Dyche will be thinking, how have I been handed this? How have Everton Football Club, with all the money that's been spent, not got a centre forward that I can hit and play off? That could be a real problem. It makes it a lot more difficult for them. I'm not sure as he is, but I still think they will stay up.
Everton a point closer. Spurs have dropped points again. That's 4 points dropped in the last 2 games. You do wonder what Antonio Conte would have made of that. And we'll get Spurs' reaction in just a moment. Do stay with us.
Sponsored by Bet365.
welcome bonus up to £150! Only at 32red.com.
Getting ready is never easy, but just when you feel like it'll never come together.
Shop everything for kids this spring. Plus, a choice of ways to pay with VeryPay.
Y'all ready for this?
New winning sips. Millions of prizes to be won. Fill your cup, try your luck.
Lloyds Bank, by your side.
Who said electricity can't be adventurous? Who said adventure needs time to recharge? All new Nissan X-Trail with e-Power and e-Force all-wheel drive. A unique electrified experience, unplugged.
With your feet on the air and your head on the ground. Try this trick and spin it, yeah.
Next up.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Where's my mind? Where's my mind?
Sky Cinema Easter Epics, available now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, this is Paul Carpenter. Glad you found us. Do you have any idea what they do here? You will be working for the most innovative company in history. Any questions? I just didn't quite... No questions, good. This is your time to shine.
You are the lowest of the low.
Knock, knock.
This has just become the best job in the world.
Sponsored by Bet365.
Well, Antonio Conte's first game in charge of Spurs ended with a point at Everton. And Christian Cellini's first game in charge of Spurs has ended with a point at Everton. His post-match thoughts with Jeff Shreves.
Christian, what did you make of it?
My feeling now that is that we have lost 2 points this evening because with 11 men against them, we had to control much better the game. We tried to do and we do, but not in the way I expect to do it. And after our red card, probably the power of the game was for them and was difficult. They find an amazing goal and they draw the game. But with 11 players against them, we have to do much better.
If anything, once you had taken the lead with a penalty, did you sit back and give them too much possession?
No, we try to press them to don't give much possession. But if you do this, they kick a long ball, you have to win the second ball and restart again. We try to do it. I think we didn't do a good possession. It was not the problem when we were out of possession, you control the game with the ball, not without.
So for you then, what was the biggest problem?
For me, 11 against 10, we have to control much better the game with the ball and not without. It's not because we know when we play here that they kick long ball, they try to fight for the second ball, they find the corner, and that's a problem because they are very strong in the set pieces, and that was the game. We were ready to do it, but with 11 men, we have to control much better the game with the ball.
What's your opinion on both red cards?
I think that Harry considered a lot of tackle today before the red card, and the red card is clear. Also, Lucas, his tackle was too dangerous, and so all the red cards are clear for me because I was very close, and the hand of the player was sent off was clearly on the face of Harry.
Although you weren't happy with the way your team didn't manage the ball in possession when it was against 10 men, were you happy with the effort and the application that they showed tonight?
No, it was a tough game. It's not easy to come here and to play against Everton, we know, but we control the game. We play a good game. We had many situations, many cross with Pedro Porro, with Ivan Perisic, and we shoot on target a lot. We can be more creative to create chances, but when you play this type of game, it's not easy. But with 11 players, my expectation was that we have to do much better. You win 1-0 and you have to bring 3 points.
That takes you back into the top 4, but that's you, Newcastle United and Manchester United all on 50 points. Just how tight is this race going to be for Champions League?
Yeah, it will be a tough race. But we were 1 year ago, we had 51 points. We were 5th, and today we were 4th with the same point with Man United and Newcastle. So we are in the same position like last season, and we have to be ready to fight. And now we think about the next game.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
We talked about this before the game as being the way for Spurs players to show their reaction to Antonio Conte's parting words as Tottenham manager. With that in mind, Gary, what did you make of them tonight?
They were okay. Okay, nothing spectacular. They've been a bit dour to watch for quite a long time. The spark isn't there with Son, with Kulusevski and Kane, as we've seen in previous seasons. Something's missing. The quality through midfield, I think, to be fair, Højbjerg and Skip, they're workmanlike, they do a good job, but they don't deliver good passes forward. They don't link the play as well as players that play in top teams do. I said before the game, I don't think the wing-backs are of the quality that you would expect to play in that sort of system. I think that it's a really difficult position to play wing-back. A lot of expectation going forward and defensively. I don't believe that Spurs have the best wing-backs. And defensively, they just look a little bit sort of like, they look a little bit drained, like they've had the energy sapped off them. But, you know, they competed. I think the big point that Stellini made there at the end was that when they went 1-0 up, they should have really seen that game out, and the game management wasn't good enough.
On Christian Stellini, do you think if the form doesn't pick up, that he will get through to the end of the season?
I think so. I think it'd be strange. I mean, listen, I think it's strange to leave him in there. I just don't understand that way. You sack a manager and you leave his assistant in there who's going to stick to all the same principles. I said before in the first hour of the show, it's Conte light. You may as well have just left Antonio Conte in there if everything's going to be exactly the same. But I think with what now, 6 or 7, I don't know, 7 or 8 games left, I don't think they're going to change him now unless they're getting a manager who they think is going to be the manager for the next 2 or 3 seasons. If that becomes available, maybe they'll get Nagelsmann before the end of the season. Of course you'd do it and let him bed in before next season. But no, I don't think there'll be a change.
There was this sort of, from us before the game, we sort of give Daniel Levy a little bit of a semi-defence, but I don't think he helps himself at all, to be fair, with respect of this, because, you know, he's left in Conte's number 2, and the suggestion will be that's been done because he doesn't want to invest money in a manager now at this point in the season. Maybe there's an element of...
Really?
Well, maybe there's an element of... No, because, look, a management team that Tottenham will want, and let's say that's sort of like a Jose, Conte, a Nagelsmann, you're talking probably 10 to 15 million pound for the manager, and his staff will cost...
There's only a month of the season left.
And the staff of 5 or 6 million. There's 3-4 months after the financial year to the end of the season. So if you bring someone in now, that'll cost about 5-6 million pounds. They might just think, well, we'll save that money, keep him into the end of the season. No, I'm not saying that's right. They might not be able to get the manager. They might not be able to get the manager they wanted, but I don't think he helps himself by leaving in.
Perhaps they haven't done a search yet.
But my point is, I don't think it helps him. It helps himself by leaving the manager that you've sacked in.
The alternative was to stick with Ryan Mason.
No, but look,
rather than
to be honest with you, I think that if you've got a sporting director, which obviously Spurs have, and they've got a lot of experience, you've got to be mobile and agile enough to be able to deal with it. It doesn't always get it right. Manchester United last season had Ralph Rangnick came in for 4 or 5 months and it didn't work at all. You know, Roy Hodgson's gone at Crystal Palace as a sort of, if you like, to the end of the season. That looks like it may work. I'm not saying it's perfect, but to me, if you're looking for a different change of direction in the last 10 games, you don't leave the sacked manager's number 2 in, because that doesn't give you a change of direction.
The stakes are high, Jamie.
No, the stakes aren't high, but listen, when you talk about other clubs, I think they're thinking, we're going to get rid of this manager. Tottenham weren't getting rid of Antonio Conte until he did that press conference. So it wasn't like, you should always be prepared that something could happen,
Jamie,
especially
Antonio
with Conte.
Conte's been leaving this club every day for the last 6 weeks.
I know, but what I'm saying, you're talking about the sporting director, that's a guy called Paratici, who actually did an interview, would you believe, on the back of Conte going, saying, this is the right thing to do. We don't want mixed messages. We don't want something completely different for the players. They mightn't be able to take it in at this stage. And when you talk about the mistakes of Daniel Levy, and we defended them, I would say, in that first hour, the biggest mistake is what's happened with Paratici.
And now he's suspended to add to the confusion around Spurs.
So it's a mess. So yeah, you have to level at Daniel Levy's door, but to sort of Conte to do that and then think, what manager are we going to get? I mean, the level of managers that they'll want, they've obviously spoken to Nagelsmann. He's not ready to come. He may go to Chelsea or he may want to wait till the end of the season. So it's not an easy position that they find themselves in right now to do with a manager.
I think if you're looking for change of direction towards the end of the season, which many clubs have this season, you want to change your voice. That voice that they're hearing now is the same voice that they've been hearing for the last 18 months.
Actually, the direction they were going in, because, again, they're in the top 4.
I'm not sure it looks a happy place there at this moment in time.
Let's have a look at some of the key incidents then before we leave this game. First of all, the red card, which happened right in front of Sean Dyche. We got his view on it. Let's get the view of you two on this as well. This is Doucouré tangling with Harry Kane.
There's no debate on the red card. There's no debate on the red card at all. So, I mean, we're all in agreement. Doucouré puts his hand up. Sean Dyche, Stellini, everybody said that ultimately you can't do this and it should be sent off. I suppose the only debate that we're having is whether Harry Kane, you know, whether he should go down.
Whistle was blown there because that was a foul on Damari Gray. But then there was this challenge which was unnecessary, as Sean Dyche said. And that led to this tangle.
Yeah. And then I think this is the angle. This is the angle I think's really. This is the angle that we all really wanted to see, because to me, look, I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration here with James Carragher. So he said it was a hand in the face. A hand in the face is where you get that one, right? That Harry Kane should never go to ground. And I said to Carragher, I said the only thing I've had before is when someone puts their clasp, if you like the claw, and they just go a little bit on your eyes, it does shock you. I'm not saying Harry Kane should go down, but that one there, which is what that one is. I wanted to go. Yeah, but that one, to be fair, it does throw you back. That is very different than a hand in the face.
What would a punch look like?
Listen, the debate is not about a red card, and Harry Kane should not be going down for that. He should not be going down. Now, it can still be a red card by putting your hand in someone's face. Doucouré is wrong. I'm sure Sean Dyche will tell him that. But, I mean, we were having a debate when it was going on. Now, I wouldn't go down there as a player. I don't know. There's nowhere near enough to let you go down. And again, if I'd done that on a pitch, I'd be embarrassed. And if I watched my own son, who's a player, if I saw him do that, yeah, it might help his team win. The opposition are down to 10 men. It gives them an advantage. When he got back in the car, I'd just say, what were you doing there? Don't ever do that again on a football pitch.
You disagree?
Look, I'm going back. I'm a lot nicer now than I was 15 years ago. Honestly, I think that I lived in a dressing room whereby my striker, if Harry Kane stands up there, we're talking about winning Champions League football or staying in the Premier League with relegation. And if Harry Kane stands up there, that might have been a yellow card because it will have been deemed as being just a little handoff. Right? Harry Kane's gone down, whether he should have gone down or not, it's to make sure that Doucouré does get sent off. It's a part of the game which, to be fair, people don't like at home, and I've said this on this show for 12 years, But in our dressing room, if our forward was that we're there to win leagues, we're there to win a game, people might call it cheating, but you can't put your hand in someone's eyes with the clasp like that.
It wasn't in his eye.
But what if that was one of your forwards that was playing? If you're playing in a game for Liverpool and it happened to Luis Suarez and he went down like that, are you going to have a problem with Luis Suarez?
I'm not going to have a problem with him. I'm not going to have a problem with him, your own player doing that, but I don't like it. I might be contradicting myself here, and it come up on social media.
How can that not be in his eye?
You're doing a slow. It's just something that happens like that.
How can that not be in his eye? Both fingers. I mean, you can see one finger in one eye and the other one's in the other.
So my problem is I've got no problem with people diving or trying to win a penalty or and people might say, well, what's the difference? The thing I really don't like is players trying to get fellow professionals booked or sent off. I've got no problem with someone going down, winning a free kick, jumping back up and getting on the feet. And to be honest, I'm having to go over a Tottenham player, but there's an Everton player, Richarlison, all the Everton supporters the last few years, you're always on at Richarlison. Because not the fact that he goes down, he stays down rolling around when there's nothing wrong with him. Harry Kane has gone down. You're trying to tell me he can't stay on his feet. Is that enough to make you go down?
Cara, I feel like you're rewriting history here. You were a horrible defender who used every single dark art that was available and wanted your players in your team. You appealed for every decision more than anybody else that ever played. And if your strikers went down, you wanted them. If your strikers went down, you'd want him sent off, and you'd probably have a go at him if he didn't.
I wouldn't.
Now you're talking as the pundit with a suit on a Monday night. It's fine.
It's a better suit than that.
I thought it's all right, actually. But to be fair, on a serious note, as a player, if we go in our dressing rooms, we're going, Harry, well done. You got him sent off.
Would you do it?
No, I've never done.
Why wouldn't you do it?
I've never done it because, to be fair, I wouldn't do that.
Why?
But
Why not?
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't mind my striker doing it.
Yes, but you wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do it. But
and if your son was playing football, how would you feel if he'd done it?
Well, to be fair, one point is, I can understand that.
Final word on this.
No, I'm giving Harry the benefit of the doubt, maybe because I know him. And he does dive. Don't get me wrong. He does. He does go to ground, and he's clever. But my point is, when those nails go in your eye. Honestly, that can shock you. That can shock you.
We're not going to find agreement, so let's move on to some of the other incidents.
Imagine being out on a Saturday night with your wife.
She did that to you?
No, yeah, and someone did that to you, and you were on the floor rolling round.
Right, come on, let's have a look at the other incidents. Let's have a look at the penalty. We heard from Michael Keane on it. He knew what he'd done, didn't he, pretty much straight away.
We've all given a penalty away like this. Yeah. We've all, when the player comes from the blind side, you don't quite see him, you're not aware. We've all given away a penalty like this. Look, we don't like it. You don't want to give away too many of them, but your reaction is to go for the ball. You've just got to let the player control it and step away. But we've all been there. He's responded well from it, but he'll be disappointed because, obviously he should know better. His experience.
The penalty was interesting, wasn't it? Because we've seen what has happened to Harry Kane very recently against a goalkeeper he knows very well. No mistake there.
Yeah, he would have taken so many penalties against them. England training, obviously preparing for shootouts in tournaments, and he's almost tried to call us bluff, Jordan Pickford. We know where Harry Kane likes to go, but now and again he does go that way, and it was just that, bluff between the two of them. They've done it plenty of times in training, but Harry Kane come out on top.
He scored more goals against Jordan Pickford than he has any other goalkeeper, 14 now. There was another red card, of course, as well. That was Lucas Moura, and there was no disagreement, I think, on this one, Gary.
No, that's one none of us like to see. I mean, the Decore one's a little bit stupid. It's petulant. This one is a really poor challenge. Really poor challenge. And to be Michael Keane said it could have been worse. They can break legs. That every professional that's watching that challenge will not like it. It's a bad one.
He said it was a sore one, didn't he? But he managed to get up, and 2 minutes later, he smashed home Everton's equaliser in the game. What does it mean for Spurs' top four hopes? Well, there are still two major rivals who met on Super Sunday at St James's Park, and there's still the title race to be discussed after both teams at the top impressed this weekend. More to come for you on Monday Night Football.
Sponsored by Bet365.
At William Hill, we get the value of football, the value of the players, the value of the win.
It's never going to happen. You need more goals.
The value of your bet. This season, we're giving you our best value ever with William Hill's Epic Value. So, whether it's Acca Freedom, 3 or 4, or Epic Odds, we've got you covered. Real value, week in, week out. It's who you play with. William Hill.
Who needs a five-star hotel when you have a million? So just take a moment and find your yellowtail.
30 million people around the world are just like me.
I value knowing that my investments are in order.
I value having low fees so I can keep more of my returns.
I value that my investment firm
Has our best interests at heart.
Join the 30 million investors around the world who value getting Vanguard value. Vanguard, value to investors.
Ah, Senor Mayor. With this tower, I will make pizza world famous. You too.
Ah, you can see towers like this in Rome, in Venice, in Florence.
But this one is round.
I don't know. Maybe red will help you bring a different slant to it.
Yes, I've got it. We build it like this.
Perfecto.
Red Bull gives you wings. Research is months and months and months. Ideas, testing, trialing, learning. Months of this to seconds like this.
This cancer has melted away with chemotherapy.
That's good news.
But months of research need monthly donations. Giving Monthly helps Cancer Research UK fund new treatments, like the ones that helped Marianne.
That's amazing.
Donate monthly and together we will beat cancer.
Where do we start?
Well, how do you sleep? He gets cold.
And she's always hot.
Our exclusive Slumberland mattress helps keep warm sleepers cool and cool sleepers cozy.
At Benson's for Beds, you can make your bed your way this spring with up to 50% off. Plus, get an extra 10% when you spend over £650. And the best bit? You can buy now, pay absolutely nothing until spring 2024. Benson's for Beds. Sleep made better.
Why must the everyday be so everyday? When you can squeeze the afternoon and add a dash of fabulous. Let's live magnificently. Tanqueray.
A storm lies ahead. Expect rivalry on every team. Tension on every green.
This is it. This is the moment.
A thrilling season is building.
This is going to get better and better and better.
The drama awaits on Sky Sports Golf.
There are not many places in the world that you can see that kind of thing.
It is a treasure trove.
This is my journey back in history.
Sponsored by Bet365.
Perisic is there. Oh, Keane had a little stab at that and got too much of the man Romero. It's a penalty. It's Kane against Pickford. Sends his England colleague the wrong way and fires Tottenham into the lead and Goodison. Keane. Keane! Oh! Talk about a blockbuster! Michael Keane with a stroke for the ages! On the stroke of 90 minutes. 1-1!
Really was a cracking second half at Goodison Park tonight, and it finished one apiece between Everton and Spurs. And these are our other weekend ties from the Premier League. Solly Marsh with the most ever shots, his most ever shots in a Premier League game. He had 8 and 5 on target. Dominic Solanke had his most ever dribbles in a Premier League game, the most by a Bournemouth player this season. Max Kilman, the first Wolves player to go past 100 successful passes in a Premier League team this season. Lucas Paqueta with the most tackles, 10. Indeed, he made 6 interceptions, despite the fact that Leicester still conceded 31 shots on their goal against Palace. David Raya, the first goalkeeper for 2 seasons to make 11 or more saves. Jacob Ramsey topped the sprints with 34. Pascal Gross covered the most distance, but the carry distance, Riyad Mahrez, his previous high this season was 233. 430 was his carry distance for Manchester City against Liverpool. So it's a good place to start us off. That first game of the weekend and a really impressive City performance against Liverpool.
It was really good, and it was like back to their fluent best. And there was one sort of tactical bit that just sort of interested me watching the game. Not new from City, but in terms of how Liverpool were looking to deal with it. And it reminded me of the Barcelona-Manchester United games between 2008 and 2011, where you've got the two strikers there, Gakpo and Salah, and then you've got the two midfield players behind, and how the box of Liverpool trying to defend the box of City, which was Stones going into that position there with De Bruyne, Gundogan and Rodri. And I thought Liverpool did really well in parts of the game for the first 25, 30 minutes in terms of dealing with this, blocking that pass off from the centre-backs, letting the back three for City have it. And it was clear that this was the tactic. And Henderson and Fabinho there that are in them deeper positions, they're just making sure they're talking to Gakpo, making sure they're talking to Salah. And it was really good the way in which how compact Liverpool were. Then, if we just move on to as the game developed, right, okay. So basically, yeah, I'll just have to go to the first goal. So the first goal for Liverpool, for City, is you see it again there. Exactly the same thing develops. There's Henderson and Fabinho. They play it across. Really good from Liverpool, but then all of a sudden here, you see Fabinho just gets drawn into Rodri, and his man, Gundogan, is behind him. And just play it on. And you had this issue where Henderson didn't know whether to go there or to go back to De Bruyne. Fabinho had Gundogan, and he had Rodri. And they just got a little bit impatient. And this point here now took me back to a set of training sessions that Carlos Queiroz did in the game in 2008, where Carrick and Scholes were in central midfield. And this is Henderson on this side. Against Barcelona. And he put a mat in the middle of the pitch. And the second central midfield player had to be on that mat in the centre of the pitch there every time one midfield player went over to, if you like, press on that side. And they both went and pivoted off each other like that. If you look at Fabinho here, as Henderson goes over towards De Bruyne's side, he has to get back into that position. Because as this goal develops, and they got pulled apart, look, it's difficult when you're playing against Barcelona or you're playing against Manchester City. But as you can see here, as the game develops now, it's Fabinho just not being in that position, which means that this ball eventually gets played into Gundogan there. And all of a sudden, they've got big problems. I'll let Jamie take it onto the goal, but it was really fascinating now. Those Liverpool midfield two got stuck between Stones and Rodri and their two players behind them, which was Gundogan and De Bruyne, and that's where City just pulled them apart.
So much to admire in that City performance.
It is, and well, Liverpool bad or City outstanding? I mean, a bit of both, but I think it was probably the best I've seen Man City play all season. But touching on what Gary's done in that, Liverpool played a 4-4-2, if you like, at Anfield, had success, won the game 1-0. But at the stage of that season, they were playing that system in a lot of different games. They've gone into the Man City game not playing that way for a while and thought, OK, we'll go with this again. Now, I just wanted to go back to Anfield and the similarities of what Pep tried to do, but the differences between playing Cancelo or Mahrez and the system that they played. So if you just look at this clip here, this is from Anfield. And it was the same sort of setup in terms of City, how they play with the ball. And we know now that City like to play that, certainly in possession. So we look at the back three. Akanji, Diaz and Aki. That was the back three again against Liverpool at the weekend. There was that box in midfield. This time, there was Rodri, Gundogan, De Bruyne. It was Bernardo Silva. That's the slight difference. And then you had Cancelo on this side, Haaland up top and Foden. Now, the big difference is that is the exact system Gary has just shown that Man City played at the weekend. But the difference is, the right back at the weekend was John Stones. He went in there to be part of the box midfield. What Pep asked in this game was the right back to basically get up and down the pitch, who was Cancelo. And what he could never do was get in behind Andy Robertson because it was too far to run. But what happened at the weekend was you had Mahrez, who was permanently there on the shoulder of Andy Robertson. And it was just a better setup. It really was. John Stonesworth, I thought, was outstanding. But just look what this means for the first goal of Manchester City. So as this ball comes over, Gary just showed it from a Liverpool point of view. But I just want to show you now. Now, look, the same setup. There's your back three, the same at Anfield. You've got your box midfield there, and then you've got your front three. We don't need to highlight them. But the difference between having Mahrez here and having Cancelo there, because he couldn't get up there in time. Now, keep an eye on Mahrez as this ball comes to Diaz. So it goes one side. It now comes across. Look at the Liverpool back four. They're all in a line. They're high up. They're compact. Watch Mahrez. Look, he goes, stop. The fact he makes that run and tries to penetrate in behind because he starts higher means Andy Robertson now is 4 or 5 yards behind the rest of the back four. Andy Robertson now tries to press in there, which was a really poor decision. Was really poor. But the fact of Mahrez's run pushes Andy Robertson further back. He now comes into De Bruyne. Stop. Just let me take it back. Just as it gets to De Bruyne. As it gets there, how far away is he? He's 4 yards. He gets there and makes that tackle if Mahrez doesn't make that run in behind. Now, City didn't have that in the game at Anfield because of the setup of Pep, even though it was the same formation. And then we run it on there and we see the goal. I mean, the wide plays were fantastic. I thought Mahrez, Grealish, possibly his best game he's had in a Manchester City shirt. And Liverpool don't cover themselves in glory. But I just thought it was really interesting, the setup from Pep. It was still a 3-4-3, but it was different players in different positions, which meant it caused Liverpool more problems. And the second goal, which was the absolute killer, who gets in behind Robertson? Mahrez again crosses it for De Bruyne, and then, for me, the game was over.
Super Sunday at St James's Park. What caught your eye in particular?
I think, look, you're looking at the end of the game at the interviews, you see what's happened. When Luke Shaw and Eric Ten Hag do their interviews after the game, there are words used like lacking desire, we weren't, they wanted it more, those types of things that we say as pundits. They actually use similar language. And I thought the most interesting part of the game, and I thought it would be like this before the game, I think I did it in my pre-match close-ups, I did Sabitzer. And the way in which Eric Ten Hag plays, he's got obviously a 3v3 in midfield. It's man for man, so it's actually a very easy comparison, simple way of measuring that sort of, if you like, who wanted it more, who sort of, if you like, ran more. And when you just look at these stats of Longstaff, Guimaraes and Willock versus Fernandes, McTominay and Sabitzer, and I look at that midfield. Guimaraes is a great player, but Longstaff and Willock are just good players. They're good, solid lads. It shouldn't be this way. Should they have more passes than that Manchester United midfield? They probably shouldn't. They won possession more than that Manchester United midfield by a lot. They won a lot more duels than that Manchester United midfield. They had 9 shots on goal. That's the big surprising thing. If you think about that midfield, they've had 9 shots on Manchester United's goal versus Manchester United's midfield having 1. And that, 13 goals. So they've ran forward more. They've won more duels. They've won more possession. And they've had more touches. I think that was pretty representative of what Eric Ten Hag and Luke Shaw were referring to when they were talking about the idea of actually Newcastle wanting it more. That 3 in midfield of Manchester United shouldn't have been overrun and outplayed like they were against that 3 from Newcastle.
Newcastle's attitude impressive, their midfield impressive. Do they also now have an impressive centre forward?
Yes, I love them. I love watching them play. I mean, Manchester United need a centre forward. I mean, you look at him. I think he'd be absolutely fantastic for Manchester United if they could have got him, at the start of the season. But for me, I've mentioned this before in terms of watching. I think when I first saw him at Anfield, I think his first appearance, he looked outstanding. He looked electric. But just highlight him here. Look at even his body shape. He's thinking, go on, please give that to De Gea, please. And then he doesn't just press the goalkeeper. He's just waiting for Mahrez and saying, go on. He's enticing him. Look, he's ready. He's out the blocks and he's off. And then it goes this side, and this leads to the goal. And listen, anyone who tells you now that centre-forward play is all about scoring goals is just living in a dream world. This is what centre-forwards have to do. They have to press, they have to have pace, energy, and score goals and be involved in the build-up play. So, we've just seen what he's done there. He now finds himself out wide. But look, they lose the ball. And he's involved again. And I just love the energy, the aggression on that ball. He then comes over in terms of centre forward. And this all comes from this pressure now at this end comes from this. That touch on the left foot, that touch then with the right foot, and then to be able to play a pass in here. Honestly, it's absolutely outstanding. So I know Gamara's is fantastic and the goal, but that goal is down to him. He doesn't get the goal, he doesn't get the assist, but the most important player in that game going 1-0 was Isak. And I absolutely love him. I think since he came on at half-time in the cup final against them, he made an impact in that game. Since then, he's become Newcastle's main centre-forward. He's took over from Callum Wilson. That's not going to change. And I think Newcastle got a special centre-forward.
And what about Manchester United? Wout Weghorst, you could argue, is doing some of those things that Jamie talked about, possibly apart from scoring goals.
Yeah, I mean, look, since yesterday, that seemed to have been a sort of a moment where Manchester United fans, obviously, we've watched Weghorst play. He's played every game, it almost feels like. Well, he has played nearly every game for Erik ten Hag since he came to the club. And I called him a placeholder yesterday in terms of what he's doing and the fact that United didn't invest, Manchester United didn't invest in what would be a proper centre-forward that Erik ten Hag needed in January because they didn't have the money. And you asked the question, I think a lot of people have asked it in this last 24 hours, this experiment has to stop. Weghorst has to come out of the team. This can no longer go on. But we just looked at the stats. Look, this is going to be quite provocative, but there's no meaning behind it in respect of what I'm saying. But the reason that Weghorst continues to play and that Erik ten Hag picks him, and the reason that Ronaldo's no longer at the club, we've just looked at Weghorst's 19 starts for the club versus Ronaldo's last 19 starts. And you see there with Weghorst's 19 starts, there's been 12 wins, 4 draws, 3 defeats. He's only scored 2 goals, but the team have scored 37 goals. If you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, 19 starts, they've obviously won 3 less games. They've drawn 3, they've lost 4 more with Cristiano in the team. He's scored 11, but the team itself, you've just mentioned about, it's not about scoring goals, it's about doing the other things. The team itself has only scored 23. They are massive differences. And it's just the sort of the strangeness, the oddities of football, that you can have a player in the team who quite clearly isn't good enough to be a Manchester United centre-forward, but actually has brought more profit to the team overall in terms of wins, less defeats, more goals overall. And it is a bit provocative, that table, but it does show you, I'm sure it's what Erik ten Hag will point towards when he's thinking about why he plays Wout Weghorst.
And just think, 12 months ago, you were calling him the greatest player of all time.
Who?
Ronaldo.
I believe he's the greatest player of all time.
Your suggestion...
This is not a criticism. I'm just saying...
Your suggestion is that Manchester United are a better team with Weghorst than Ronaldo.
I think the reason that ultimately it just wasn't working towards the end and that Erik ten Hag left Cristiano out and obviously it became fractured, I think it's quite clear there when you look at those stats. Weghorst, to be fair, is not fit to lace Ronaldo's boots, Cristiano Ronaldo's boots. He isn't. He shouldn't even mention in the same sentence. But those are stark statistics when you look at them in the same sort of, if you like, periods of time, playing with the same players, the same teammates, that Weghorst, who, to be fair, yesterday I thought was really poor. I don't want to go overemphasise it because I don't think he should be there. But the fact of the matter is, he is there. And the reason he plays every single game under Erik ten Hag is because of those stats.
So Weghorst is better for Manchester United than Ronaldo?
I mean, I asked the same question.
Just something. No, what I'm saying to you is, you can see, I personally don't think that either...
Who would you pick?
No, personally, I don't
Who would you pick?
Personally, I don't think either of them at this moment in time should be playing centre-forward for Manchester United.
But who would you pick?
I would have liked there to be a new signing who was basically a brilliant centre-forward.
Who would you pick, Weghorst or Ronaldo, to play up front in this Manchester United team?
Well, it's more important who Erik ten Hag picks, and he picked Weghorst.
No, I'm asking you.
No, I don't know.
You don't know between Ronaldo or Weghorst?
Ronaldo now. Ronaldo now's playing in Saudi Arabia. It wasn't working at the end. He's left. That was a provocative chart, but I think it's right, and it's the reason why Erik ten Hag is picking.
You said he shouldn't be mentioned in the same breath. You're the one who put the graphic up.
Oh my God! I've put it up to show why Erik ten Hag continues to pick him.
Who would you pick? You've been a manager.
I don't know.
No, go on.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick. What if they're both there now?
Yeah.
I think you'd move it between game to game. Some games I pick Weghorst, some games I pick Ronaldo.
If you could have one for next season, who would you take?
If I was playing at home, at Old Trafford, I'd pick Cristiano Ronaldo. If I was playing away from home, I'd probably pick Weghorst.
All right, let's have a look at the Opta predictor again for the top 4. We've seen it for relegation. The Everton equaliser, by the way, took Spurs from 29% chance of finishing in top 4 down to 19. They still think that Manchester United are home and hosed. They're all on 50 points. Spurs have played 2 games more. Is that how you see it, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this for a while about Newcastle finishing in the top 4. They're just playing a lot better. When I watch them play, they play a lot better than Liverpool and Tottenham. We shouldn't write off Brighton either, by the way. I mean, Brighton are still probably playing better than Liverpool and Tottenham, really, whenever you see them play week in, week out. I think Manchester United will be fine, but Newcastle are just on a different level at the moment to Tottenham and Liverpool.
Dave, you made a good point in our group text yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
What was it?
It was after the Newcastle. It was after the Newcastle United Manchester United game, and you said you thought Manchester United were worse at Newcastle yesterday than they were at Anfield for parts of the game.
I do remember.
And Justin, I actually agree with him. Although Manchester United yesterday only lost 2-0 and they lost 7-0 at Anfield, I thought in the first half at Anfield, to be fair, I thought they played reasonably well. I thought yesterday Manchester United were poor and only lost 2-0. Do
you think Newcastle played well?
I think Newcastle played well, yeah. Of course I did. I didn't think I've been proven right on Liverpool, by the way. Hey, they weren't that good that day.
Just before we go,
Liverpool are playing really well.
Play that well.
Liverpool are playing really well.
We haven't talked about Arsenal, but do you think Liverpool can beat Arsenal next week?
Yeah, I think Liverpool will beat Arsenal.
Oh, it's a big call, it.
Where are you on your Arsenal predictor? Your Arsenal
That's what we're here for. Give us your call on Weghorst or Ronaldo. Give us an opinion.
Get
off the fence.
It's not as simple as that.
It is simple.
Well, if you're playing a certain game, you play Ronaldo. Certain game, you play Weghorst. But just quickly, Dave, next Sunday. No, but I've said I think if Arsenal win at Anfield, to me it's an acid test. If you go and win at Anfield, I think Arsenal will definitely win the league. But he thinks that Liverpool will beat Arsenal at Anfield on Sunday, which means it will be in City's hands if that's the case.
We will pick up again on Sunday. Before then, we have got more live football for you, featuring these two, if you can stomach any more. You can get too much of a good thing. Chelsea-Liverpool tomorrow night. How are Chelsea going to respond without Graham Potter, with Bruno at the helm as they take on Liverpool? West Ham at home again, this time against Newcastle United, who are expected by Opta to get themselves in, well, they're in there right now to stay in the top 4 at the expense of Spurs, who we watch tonight on the Monday Night Football. Dropping 2 points, said Christian Salini, their interim manager. But for Everton, it was Keane who saved the day. Bye from us.
Sky Sports Premier League. Feel it all.
Sponsored by Bet365.
Discover the award-winning Renault E-Tech electrified range. 100% electric, full hybrid and plug-in hybrid.
I wonder what you would do if you had the power to dream any dream you wanted to dream. You would, I suppose, start out by fulfilling all your wishes. Love affairs, banquets, wonderful journeys. And after you've done that for some time, you'll forget that you were dreaming.
New 2024 Voyages available to book now at cunard.com.
A little story. It doesn't matter where you read it or share it. That one little story can open their world to a lot of possibilities.
But 1 in 5 children say they don't own a book. So we provided over 130 million books since 2013. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
Do the little things right and the big stuff takes care of itself. That's why we use delicious 100% British apples every day, starting with the ones less than 40 miles away. It's in the detail where we're super keen. Our apple waste makes energy that's green. So go big on the little things. That's when you can taste it. Extra love, extra care. For the perfect cider, go the extra inches. Grab a pack of Inches cider for your chance to win a houseplant makeover every week with Patch.
Zoe's finally joining the early morning swim, spurred on by a new Apple Watch Series 8 she got from Vitality for £39 if she stays active.
Because Vitality is different, we don't just protect you, we encourage you to stay healthy too.
I think what she's trying to say is the water's rather cold.
Get your Apple Watch Series 8 with Vitality Health and Life Insurance, sharing the benefits of healthy living.
Quick, and I don't know who they're calling, but yeah, they seem nervous, and it's great.
I love
love it. How about you guys? You guys do the same kind of thing? Walk the streets?
Yeah, big party. So I walk the streets right to my house and go to bed.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about where your trophy's going to go last time I saw you. Now you guys have a place identified where your trophies are going to go if you win tonight?
I think it's probably going to go at Jeff's house next to the Waffle House Award that we won, which, you know, that's where he puts his most important accolades. It's hard to beat the Waffle House Award for him. So if we win this one, I know that's where he's going to put it.
I think after the tequila, after the party, we're all going to need to go to Waffle House. Old Dominion, thank you guys. Have so much fun tonight.
Thank you.
All right, back to you.
The final award you'll see at the end of the show tonight goes to Video of the Year, and that clip will take its place in history with iconic titles like Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats, Taylor Swift's Love Story, Tim McGraw's Humble and Kind, and so many more. Voting is still open. This morning, the final list was narrowed down to these nominees: Cody Johnson, Till You Can't, Jason Aldean and Carrie Underwood, If I Didn't Love You, and Kane Brown with One Mississippi. Show your love for your favorites on CMT's Twitter feed with the hashtags you see here. Then watch as the winner is unveiled on the CMT Music Awards, which gets underway tonight at 8/7 Central on CBS.
And we've got Gail King from CBS Mornings. I love you. How you doing?
So good. I am so great. Look, there's Carly.
Carly's here.
Yes.
And as the stars are arriving, like yourself.
But, well, listen, I really feel like a looky-loo today. I'm not kidding. But can I just tell you a great story about Carly?
Yeah.
When I landed, I texted her. I should have texted you to say, where could we go to eat?
Right.
Only have, you know, an hour or two. She said Milk and Honey.
Right. Great choice.
Okay, because it's near the Thompson Hotel. Went to Milk and Honey, Cody. Went to pay the bill, and they said, sorry, your bill's already been paid for.
What?
Yes. And then I said, that can't be. Nobody knows I'm here. They said, no. Somebody said she's a special Nashville friend.
Wow.
Carly Pierce.
Biscuits on Carly Pierce.
I know. And waffles and the scramble. I said, if I had known you were going to pay, we wouldn't have eaten everything on the menu. So I feel a little bad.
In case people
but I'm
don't
thrilled
know,
to be here.
Yes, you are friends with lots of folks on the carpet, and you're a huge
I love this
country
music
fan.
Yes.
You watch Hot 20, our show every weekend, right?
Cody Johnson won this past week.
She always knows the numbers.
He was number one.
Number one.
Sam Hunt was number two.
Well, Cody is up for several awards tonight. He can walk away with several.
I know he is.
Yeah.
But Kane Brown. And then, so we did Kelsey this morning on the news.
Right.
So you know she has COVID, of course.
Sure.
But she's fine. She's feeling fine. I said, gosh, Kelsey, I was so disappointed because I wanted to see your outfit changes. She said, I'm still going to be changing my outfit. So I'm curious how she's going to do that.
Yeah. Who did I see you FaceTiming on your way in, by the way?
So I FaceTimed. Well, Oprah called me. I said, I can't talk. I am at the CMTs, Oprah. I have to go.
That's right.
You know, Nashville's her city, you know.
Absolutely. So
I said to everybody, say hi to Oprah, and everybody said, hi, Oprah.
Say hi to Gail King,
really
everybody.
Nice.
We love you from CBS Mornings.
So glad
Look
to
for
be
her tonight
here.
on the CMT Music Awards. Over to you.
Carpet, we are live. Mickey Guyton in the black about that.